I love this line. Part mad scientist, part futurist, part capitalist. What does that make you all think? Peter Suzuki is an accomplished senior executive and innovator, more than 30 years of success across high-tech and product development. He's held leadership positions at small little companies like Hewlett & Packard, Verifone, Nike, holds 12 patents, authored 5 books in the areas of marketing, neuroscience, and sales. I love thinking about all the lives that this man has changed. He peeks into the future. He brings innovations to life today. Future innovations today that people don't even know they need. He's here today to talk about today's mobile-first modern marketing using openless apps. Openless apps. Who's heard of openless apps? I'm certainly not raising my hand.
I want you to raise your, do you have a smartphone? Raise it up. Okay, I want you guys to look around the room. If you don't have a smartphone, you probably wouldn't admit it. Now, just real quick test before we get moving here. If you have an iPhone, raise it up in the air. iPhone. Look around the room. Most people have an iPhone. If you're an Android, go ahead now and raise up your iPhone or put your phone down. Okay, guess what? I'm just here to tell you that 80% of the market share around the world is Android. Just so you guys can be in the back. Yeah, right on. But the thing is, guys, here's where we're at. I'm going to be talking to you about the new modern marketing blueprint and some of the things that maybe you're using today. And I'm not saying stop using them, so I don't want to offend people who do social media or email or websites or things like that. But I'm going to give you some self-evident truths, and a lot of you guys are going to be doing this. Yep, I do that. And if you do it, so do your customer. So we're in a changing time where everybody's living on this, right? We're going to talk about a mobile-first approach and then going into a mobile-only approach. So I'm going to be, our article is coming out in Forbes magazine. We're going to be in next month with my company, Creation, talking about where we're going with these openless apps. But even Forbes came out about a month or two ago and said websites as we know them are dead. And it wasn't the fact that websites are going to disappear. It's just the way we are interacting, the way our consumers are interacting has changed, okay? And you're going to see some self-evident truths here, but it's really about the user experience. Users now do not want to be sold, right? You guys know this. You guys are consumers as well. You want to research, discover, and then buy, right? Not be sold to. And guess what? You have the power in the palm of your hand to shut those salespeople off. Right? This is all about creating a mobile-first search, discovery, and conversation platform. That's why Google said conversation is the new currency. Really, we're in an era, we've changed now, and some of you guys saw my chat, that basically messaging is the new medium. We're all messaging and texting each other. Right? Conversation is the new currency, and these mobile devices is the platform that we're doing it on. Okay? Everything is changing. And I want you guys to ask yourself, when's the last time that you got a push notification or text, and what did you do? If you got one here sometime today, raise your hand if you looked at it fairly soon. Look around the room. We don't let them sit for days, right? That grabs our attention. That's very, very key, right? Now these phones, right, they're smart enough, they're giving us appointment reminders, right? They're giving us car service reminders. They're giving us the ability to navigate through systems and have text offers. These are all things that you can do with your business today, right? You guys know about push notifications. That's a very important thing in marketing these days because it gets their attention right away. So I want you to think about, as it relates to this whole mobile-first modern marketing approach, what was your aha moment when you started realizing that, wow, my consumers, my customers, my clients are doing everything on their phone, and I probably need to be there in some way, but I don't know how. We're going to talk about this thing I call sandbox thinking, because we're all doing social media, email, websites, yet I'm going to show you some data and evidence. They don't work. You guys all with me on that? No. So my aha was my running story. This happened about 1.5 years ago. I was out running on the trails. I had my mobile phone. And how many of you guys, I listen to podcasts. You guys listen to podcasts? Yeah. So I was listening to this podcast. It was really interesting. It was about this guy, and he was talking about a very interesting topic. And it was this book called Play Bigger. You guys ever seen this? One of the authors is Christopher Lochhead, and actually Christopher Lochhead works with us now. He helped coin our term active attention design in our Openness app. He had a rooster on his lap in the back garden. He's a real cool guy. He has a podcast called Legends and Losers, but they were talking about how to become a category king. Category kings are companies like Google, Airbnb, right? Facebook, Uber. And it's really, this is as important for you guys as small business owners as multi-million-dollar conglomerates. And what I mean by that is, how do you become different, not just better, right? I talked about this yesterday in the chat lot about how do you write your own story. Because you have to communicate that to your customers, just like that, right? So I was out there, I was running, and I was so intrigued by what the guy was saying, this Christopher Lochhead. I stopped right there on the trail. I went on my phone and I ordered the book on Amazon Prime, one click, and had it delivered to my house the next day. How many of you guys use Amazon Prime? Look around the room. You know what? There's 100 million people who use Amazon Prime, so they can't, they're doing something right. Pretty cool. So it was just and I started running again. I thought, you know what? It dawned on me. It's like, you know what? I could not do that. And think about that for your own business. These people, your consumers, your customers, your clients are living on their phones. You guys do too, right? My partner story, one of my partners, the other day, he was telling me, because him and his wife were laying in bed that night. It was late. And all of a sudden, his wife gets a text. And he looks at her, he says, "So honey, who's texting you this late at night?" And she said, "Our furnace. It just gave me a reminder we have to change the furnace filter." This is what's happening now, guys. And all of you can be part of this in your business inside what I'm going to describe as an Openness app. So, you guys ever heard of the boiling frog story? It's kind of a myth to some degree, a story, but the whole idea is this, and I want you to pay attention because it's very, very important for where all of you are at, sitting in the audience and listening. You can put a frog in water, and you can slowly heat the water up, and the frog acclimates to the hotter and hotter temperature, and it will not jump out. But if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out right away. But it acclimates up to the point where the water is boiling, and it kills the frog. So if you think about it, what's going on is your business is that frog. The technology around your business, this mobile first, modern marketing approaches, moving away from some of this sandbox thinking with email, social, and websites, is slowly boiling you alive. And if you don't do something sooner rather than later, you're going to end up like that frog. If you don't believe me, here's some companies you may recognize. Ever heard of Blockbuster and Hollywood Video? What happened to them? Netflix came on board, disrupted them. They're no longer in business. Then we have JCPenney and Sears. They did not jump soon enough, and there's a little company up in Seattle called Amazon that basically redefined the market, and now they are shutting down stores. You guys hear that in the news? All right. You guys have a Kmart in your neighborhood? Not anymore. Phone companies, newspapers, magazines, travel agents, everything is getting disrupted because it's moving to a mobile-first environment and a modern marketing approach. And I hope you guys everybody's listening here, no one's on their phone, and I hope you stay off because I'm telling you, this is a boiling frog event for you. But these are companies, guys, that's self-evident. They did not react quick enough, and I assume they're probably quite a bit bigger than you. don't want to end up being that one fraud. Now, what we're going to do is we want to buckle up here. We're going to go for a ride. The whole thing here is I'm going to share with you this modern marketing blueprint and the conversational journey that you should be having in your business. So today's takeaway is going to be this. We are going to be entering into a new modern marketing approach that every business needs. In fact, when Forbes came out, they flew out to interview me. And after about 10 minutes of talk, the journalist, the reporter, he looked at me and he said, you know what? He goes, every business needs what you have in the self-help side. And you're going to see why here in just a moment. Now, what you're going to learn about is this whole mobile first approach. It has to be one hub. We send people out to websites, email, to social media. The poor consumer doesn't know where to go and they're confused. Too much friction, too much noise, too much overwhelm. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It has to be a one hub experience where they stay in the hub, in your hub, in your business. It has to be easy. Keep that friction down. It has to match the conditioning. I'm going to talk about that. And you guys are going to see you do the same thing as what your customers do. We all do it. And it's the conditioning of how we are buying, how we're discovering. And then I'm going to show you how to apply it. Okay? All right. So I'm going to talk to you about how to apply this. So technology today offers a choice. And that choice produces habits. Okay? You know, does anybody remember a time before PCs? You guys remember that? You know, Mike and I started a fluke test and measurement up in Seattle, Washington. This was before PCs, before email, before faxes. You know, it used to be, you know, how do we live without email? And now we're, how do we get away from email, right? It has become an annoyance to customers, yet we hammer them with it. And it's not the way they want to discover and buy it, okay? So, you know, the thing about this is, I want to ask you a question too, just so you guys see what I'm talking about. How many of you guys, raise your hand if when you wake up in the morning, one of the first things you do is check your phone? Look around the room. A lot of you guys do it. We all do it, right? Do you know that we're averaging looking at our phone 150 times a day? That's once every 6 minutes. You get that kind of hit with your clients because we all do it, right? That's the studies and what they show. So everyone's on their phones, right? They're living in these mobile first behaviors. We're searching, making dining reservations. We're messaging. We're doing all these things like watching streaming video, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Everything is happening on these mobile devices, right? You guys all do this? Yeah. And if you're doing it, guess what? So are your customers and clients. We're no different from them. Okay. So I'm here to tell you that mobile is the new normal. You know that there's 40 million internet users in the US today that they don't even own a laptop or a PC. They're just mobile only. Okay? 88% of local search on the phone, a person you is going to call or book online within 24 hours. How many of you guys are local businesses, service businesses? Yeah, there's quite a few. So this could be really good for you in an open this app, right? What are you guys doing on your phone at night? Do you know that 9 out of 10 people watch TV with the phone by their side or in their hand? Raise your hand if you do that. Look at how many people are doing it already. 9 out of 10 too. It's just, okay? We're browsing, watching, right? Getting recommendations. This is part of this whole new trend of mobile first and mobile apps. Gen Z, those kids that are born from 1997 to 2009 are already contributing $44 billion to the economy. And this is where we're moving from a mobile first to a mobile only society. Those Gen Z kids, they never knew a time before a smartphone. Think about it. 2007 is when the iPhone came out. They were only 10 or 11 at the time. If you look at the Gen Z population, by 2020, it's going to be 25% of the American population. That's 86 million Gen Zs. You think you should pay attention to them as a business owner? You combine that with the millennials that were born from 1981 to 1996. There's 76 million of them. Between Gen Z and the millennials, that makes up almost half the population in our United States. Think you may want to pay attention to those people? You know that even elderly people, baby boomers that are further up there, 4 in 10 of them own a smartphone. This is not just the young person's game, okay? this is where we're going, and I'm going to talk to you about customers. You and I, we're getting all of these modern communications on our phone. New cars are sending service reminders. Navigation systems are making real-time route changes. You guys already know that. You know, I was just up in Northern California. I had a few days off up in Paso Robles. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. If you haven't, you should go, man. It is a great place to do wine tasting. You got like 300 wineries up there. Boy, oh boy, was that fun. But guess what? The problem is you got to come back through LA. You guys ever been in LA in traffic? Bad. I call it the traffic prison up there. And then, you know, the thing about it is, I was up there and my phone was taking me on and off the freeway to move around through this traffic prison. Now, I could have never done that a few years ago with a Thomas guide, if you guys even know what that is. And some of you guys, you're old enough, you're laughing. Or I could have done it with the seat of my pants. There's no way. But my phone was able to provide me the smarts to do that, okay? The thing about it is, guys, here's the deal. You can look at all this and you can go, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of wait and see and start having the water heat turned up on you as a frog. Or you can look at what's coming next. We have this thing we call sandbox thinking. I call it sandbox thinking. It's all this email, all these websites, all this social that we're doing. It just doesn't work like it used to. And consumers are shifting away from the sandbox, and here's why. It's because of these three things I have on the screen. Friction, noise, and overwhelm. And I'm going to talk about each of them to help you guys get an understanding of why this is happening and the fact that you guys are having the same experiences that your customers do. So let's talk about friction first. Google, the largest data collector on this planet, came out and said, every step a user has to make from their study, 20% drop out, and that's if they're interested. Yeah, somebody just said, wow. Wow, right. Okay. I'm going to give you an email marketing example. This is why email is not doing as well as it used to. It has 5 steps of friction. Open our inbox, right? Search the email, find the email, read the email, click on the email. You just put 5 steps of friction on the customer's back. We don't have the patience and attention span anymore to do that. This is why the industry average on email is 20% open rate and 2% click-through rate. You guys have somewhere around there? That's what the industry average is. I mean, you get a little bit better, good for you, but that's the way it is, right? So we're just putting all of this on the backs of our consumer. You could be the best copywriter in the world, but you still got to deal with that 5 steps of friction. And customers just don't want to do it. So guess what they do? Don't pay attention. Okay? Then there's noise. Do you know statistically the average American experiences up to 10,000 messages a day? 10,000. How many of you guys raise your hand if you get over 100 emails a day? Raise your hand. Okay, do you know, look at, there's quite a few. Do you know the average American gets 121 emails a day? We're getting bombarded. And guess what? What do? We ignore it. Okay. How many of you guys have a whole bunch of emails in your inbox that you never even read? Look, you're all raising your hand. I got 98,000 in one of my inboxes. I would be an old man by the time I cleaned all that crap up. Right? We're just not going to do it. Guys, this is sandbox thinking. This is where we're at. You've got to think about, okay, well, what can we do about this? What can we change? Statistic on overwhelm. The average human attention span, I have about 16 years in neuroscience brain research. We use it in our Open App platform. We can use that to benefit your business as well. The average attention span is about 8 seconds. Do you know a goldfish is 9? People are overwhelmed. You know, think about it, right? You ever had this happen? When you're overwhelmed, we live in a land of abundance, right? Too many choices, too many things coming at us. And what do? I'm going to do that later. We ignore it and we do nothing. Okay? And this is what your customers are doing in your business because they're in a state of overwhelm. You know, I talked about the inbox, clean it up later, right? We all do it. And then you have the whole idea of, let me ask you this, just to prove my point. How many of you guys, every single day, you read every email that comes in and you neatly put it in a folder? Raise your hand if you do that. There's like, well, maybe 5 or 6. You guys have a lot of time on your hands. Because most of us don't do it. We can't keep up. So, but I want to share the big 3 so you can see and talk about, you know, the emperor has no clothes. What's really going on here? Social media, if you look at that, do you know that HubSpot, you guys all know who HubSpot is? They're a pretty respected marketing company. 60% of business owners can't track ROI on social media. Do you guys really know what's happening to your bottom line and your net income statement on social media? Okay, this is part of the sandbox thinking, right? Then we got the email with 5 steps of friction. Do you know that phone apps have 6 steps of friction? This is why native phone apps are dying. 90% of people delete a phone app after the first week that they load it on. Do you know that 80% of people on mobile devices only use 3 phone apps? If you're Google, Uber, Facebook, good for you. But all you guys only do a native phone app. They're going away. They're going to be replaced by these open apps. Okay? Then that's a friction thing. Now, let's talk about this overwhelm thing, right? How many of you guys, raise your hand if you've gone to a website and there was no chat? Okay. Now, worse yet, how many of you guys gone to a website where there was chat and you clicked on it and they said, we're not here right now, but send an email and we'll get back to you in 24 hours. Raise your hand. See, a lot of you are good, right? How'd that make you feel? Like, wow, that was really annoying. You see, the thing about it is, we live in an instant world now, 24/7, right? Imagine thinking about a grocery store, right? They're running 24/7 right now, 24 hours a day. Imagine going to your local Albertsons at midnight and there's a sign on the door that says, sorry, we're closed, go away. You'd be like, what? See, we want instant. We want it now. We want it 24/7, and we don't want anything less. You know, you may be asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, but there are people that work different shifts. Right? We are running on a 24/7 clock in global society, and it's not going to change. Over 55, this is HubSpot again, over 55% of people spend less than 15 seconds on a website. It's amazing. Okay? Conditioning. Okay, how many of you guys, if you think about it, right, when we search, we Google, right? Like Kleenex is the tissue, most of you people say, I want a Kleenex, I don't want a tissue, right? When you want to search, you what? Say it again. Google it. Right? We're all conditioned. When we search, we Google it. Okay? You look at, how many of you guys, let me raise your hand, how many of you guys get calls that you don't answer? We have caller We have caller ID. We shut it off because we can. You know that millennials right now don't even listen to voice messages because they don't want to. So don't leave a voice message anymore, because if you're talking to a millennial, they're not going to answer. They'll message you, but they won't listen to your voicemail. They sure will talk to you on the phone. 90% of leads nowadays would rather be texted or messaged than talked to on the phone. Let me ask you this. Would you prefer to message and talk and text somebody, or would you prefer to talk to a strange salesperson on the phone you don't know and have them try to sell you something? We're all like, back away. Let me search and discover on my own. Okay? And if you don't believe me, look at all auto dealerships. You guys ever went to buy a car and there's 5 guys standing out there, you're going, uh-oh. Right? They're ready to attack. This is why you guys ever heard of the Fair app? You know now it's a native phone app, but they'll make it into a PWA. But the Fair app, basically, you can go in, look for a car you want, shop. You can do the research, you can do the lease paper, sign it, buy it, have it delivered to your home, and you never have to go anywhere. And 2 months later, if you're tired of the car, you can go get another one, they'll deliver another one to your home. That's right now. You see, where do you think dealerships are going to be in the near future? I think Netflix. Okay? All right. You ever had this happen? You ever go to a website and they have a link to YouTube, and all of a sudden you got to YouTube and 10 minutes later on a 4th or 5th video and you forgot why you're even there? Raise your hand if you had that happen. Yeah. You see, this is all about keeping them in the one hub. That's what I was talking about, right? It's about the PWA, the conversational experience, the one hub, the artificial intelligence. Because this is what everybody does. And businesses like all of us, I'm in the same boat with you, I used to do this, commit customer suicide. Because we send them out to these places and now they're gone for good. It's good for YouTube. It's not good for you guys. It's not good for your customer, right? He who owns the conversation owns the customer. She who has the data has the power. And that's what you guys all need to have. Don't give your data to Facebook or Google. Why would you do that? You said, now, hopefully I'm not going to get assassinated down here when I leave. But this is the change that's happening, guys. Back in 1993, I was working at Fluke Test and Measurement. That was a little after Mike. That's where Mike and I met with Fluke. But I was with my buddy Mark Hastings. Mike remembers Mark Hastings, electrical engineer. We were down in his basement, and we were basically, this is when the internet was first coming up, right? And we were playing around with Mosaic and trying to figure out websites and all this kind of stuff. And back then, domain names were free. And I told Mark, I said, Mark, you ever heard these things called domain names? Yeah. I said, well, maybe what we should be doing is we should probably pick some of those up. They're free. Oh, we got engrossed being engineers, right? And like, well, let's build a website. Let's code this, we're engineers. Right? Well, I never picked those up. I could have got insurance.com, vacationrent.com, boat.com, cars.com. 2 years ago, vacationrental.com and insurance.com sold for both for $35 million. Now think about it. Think about if you had invested in Netflix and saw the future when it first came out. How about Google? How about Facebook? This is a story of opportunity and regret. Now, I was a little bit smart. I invested in this little company called American Tower. Everybody heard of it? Anybody in this room? American Tower, I bought in 2002. There's a guy raised his hand for under $3 a share. Do you know where the price is right now? It fluctuates around 140. American Tower grew from a little company to a big company. You know why? Because they own about 67 to 70% of all the cell towers in America. It's a money printing machine. Where are we going to sell? So the point I'm making here, guys, is really you want to look at this. Don't let this opportunity go by. Because like the boiling frog, if you wait too long, you're going to be dead.